Thanks so much for joining today's SkySlope Forms Masterclass. We are so excited to have you and so excited to introduce you to our Forms tool. So today we're going to be walking through that product here. Keep in mind that we have our chat and our Q&A feature available. However, we will be answering questions in the Q&A. So for those of you jumping into the chat, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to jump into that Q&A feature instead. I've got a handful of SkySlope experts that are here with me today to help answer your questions because we are expecting a crowd. With that, we will be keeping everyone on mute as we move through today's training. Go ahead and keep that in mind. We will be recording so we can provide this back for a reference as we wrap up today. We will also have some polls at the end of today's training. We absolutely love your feedback. It helps us not only improve our tool, but also have a better understanding of how to provide you with the training resources that you need, of course, to the most successfully use SkySlope. So hang on at the end there, guys. Give us some of your feedback. Of course, we love it. And we will absolutely jump into the FAQs, all of your questions there as we wrap up here at the end. So with that, I've got a little presentation here for you. To start us off, some introductions. My name is Kira. I am a customer success manager here at SkySlope. I will be your tour guide here this morning, walking you through our Forms tool. And of course, this wouldn't be a SkySlope training if I didn't take some time to shout out our amazing support team. So for those of you, as you are getting your feet wet, as you are diving into this new tool, feel free to reach out to our support team if you have any questions. They are available, of course, by phone call, chat response, or email reply. So whatever your preference is, they are here to help. Now, today's topics, we are going to be covering, as I mentioned, our SkySlope Forms tool. We're going to discuss how to use reusable templates. We are going to create forms using our new Forms tool, talk about how to fill those out and get them in the hands of your clients. Sign them using our new and improved digital signature tool, DigiSign. And then, of course, coming full circle here, submitting those fully executed forms into your brokerage for review. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, hop out of my PowerPoint here and jump into my SkySlope demo account. All right, guys, now keep that in mind, of course, as we move through our training here today. This is a demo account. So mine, of course, is branded for SkySlope, along with my templates that I have created and some of the forms that I'm working with. They are catered to our samples. They are catered towards our demo so that we can, nicely walk you through this here. To start off, you're going to access your SkySlope Forms tool using this Apps button up at the top right of your screen. Now, for those of you who might be saying, oh no, I don't see that Apps button available, no worries. We are successfully launched right now in 5 states and moving on into launch in California. So for those of you who might not see this Apps button, no worries, it is coming soon. For now, I'm going to go ahead and access my Forms tool by clicking on my little Apps button here and jumping right into Forms. Awesome. So this is going to lead me right into my new product here. I've got a couple of files that I have envelopes out for signature. But I'm really going to go ahead and put myself in your shoes. You as the agent, where do we start? How do we begin? How does this really compare to my other Forms tools that I'm currently using? Well, let's go ahead and paint a bit of a picture. Of course, we know when we would log into SkySlope in the past, we would be creating a property file for our forms to live in. Well, now we have forms available here in SkySlope, so we're going to go ahead and start even one step further behind. We're going to go ahead and create these files here within the account and then create our property file. So here within my Forms tool, I actually have a client of mine, Mr. Scotty, reached out to me this morning and he said, hey, Kira, thanks so much for helping me sell my property a few months back. I've got another one. I would love to list it with you. Very exciting. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to go ahead and send him over my listing packet, grab his signatures on that, and then go ahead and create a property file here within SkySlope, letting my brokerage, of course, know that I have this new listing. So to start myself off, I'm going to come right on into my Forms tool here. I'm going to send out that listing packet for signature so we can really get the ball rolling. So I'll start off here by creating a new file. And SkySlope will begin to ask me the basic questions it will need in order to auto-populate the desired information onto my forms. So of course I can send that out. To start off, I will go ahead and be representing a seller here today. However, those of you who work with buyers, of course, you'll know that you were only creating a property file in SkySlope if you had that property address. Now, if you are sending out offers instead, no worries, you don't have that property address quite yet. You can represent your buyer here within the Forms tool and label your property file according to your client's name rather than a property address. So that is going to be a little bit of a change there for those of you who often represent your buyers. You now have a place to store that. Now I'm going to go ahead, enter in my client's information here. As I mentioned, Mr. Scott. We'll go ahead and get his information in here for me. Perfect. If I would like to add in Mr. Scott's wife, Holly, of course, I can do so here. And for those of you working commercial, if you would like to change this formatting, of course, you can do so by checking this box. It'll ask you a couple of different questions pertaining to that commercial side of the sale. Now, let's say I was working with a buyer. I did have that listing already on the MLS. I can import my MLS data here, saving me that time. This is very similar to those of you who've utilized this tool within Sky. We'll go ahead and grab all of that data from the MLS, drop it here within your SkySlope account in order to auto-populate all of that information onto your forms for you. There's no need for that double data entry anymore. Again, the goal here is to really streamline your workflow, eliminating that double data entry and really automating as much as we can here for you, just to keep this process very easy. Of course, because this is a new listing of mine, I have not yet entered that onto the MLS. I need to go ahead and send out my listing agreement first. So I'm just simply going to go ahead and pull up a random address here. Perfect. All of that information will autofill. And here at the bottom, it'll ask me how I would like to name my file. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the address here today. But as I mentioned, those of you who are looking to save information under your buyer's name, you can do so now. And lastly, it's going to ask me if I'd like to start with a template. Now, I mentioned this in my presentation. We are going to go through and talk about how to create and utilize templates here within your Forms tool. I'm going to go ahead and choose to use one here today, but no worries. We'll circle back around and we'll talk a little bit more about them here once we have my listing packet out for signature. I'm going to go ahead and select California New Listing here. Hit Create. And SkySlope's going to go ahead, utilizing that template. It's going to drop the forms that I am looking to send out right now, right here underneath my property file. It has now assigned my forms. If I go ahead and let's just open up my residential listing agreement here. As I scroll through, I can really see what SkySlope has auto-filled. I've got my brokerage information. If I need to change any of this, of course I can by clicking on it. This is my information that I've entered in here as the agent. Marked as seller agent, of course, I've got my email, phone number. All of this is what SkySlope is going to use in order to auto-populate this information onto my forms. As I scroll on down here, let's go ahead and get on over to page 5. I can play around there. Awesome. So you'll notice that our forms here are going to be auto-mapped in order to create a very easy workflow for you. I can go ahead and just click Date Prepared, and it's going to give me a calendar where I can go ahead and select that date very easily. SkySlope will fill that in for me. Same thing, I have my client's information pulling from my property file as I was creating this. I've got my check boxes, of course, and I also have text box. So I can go ahead and fill this out here. It'll auto size this to match up with my form nicely. And I can also enter in that listing dollar amount. We are out here in sunny California today. We'll go ahead and give ourselves a nice big price tag. I'll go ahead, save and exit, jump on out here. I am now back underneath my property file. I can do the same and review any of these forms here just to make sure that I've got all the information that I might need. And once I am ready to go ahead and send these guys out for a signature, I can do so by clicking my little boxes, or I should say my little circles, up at the top left. For those of you who would maybe like to also include comparables, you went ahead and pulled the comparables in the neighborhood. You'd like to include that in your listing packet. Of course, you can do so by clicking Upload Documents. Let's say my 2746 one, Lemon Tree Court, is also a condo. So there's a couple of additional forms I'd like to add. I can stack on an additional template, or I can add forms in here individually by clicking Add Forms. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly search for my condo. There we are. I'll go ahead and tack that guy in. And I could toggle between libraries of different forms that I would like to add using this little drop-down menu here. You can see I've got a bunch of different associations that I personally work with. Also keep in mind this is a demo account. And of course, I also have a broker library here. So maybe my brokerage has broker-specific forms. They're not necessarily state or association forms. No worries. If they have that set up for me here, I can go ahead and pull directly from my broker library. I'll go ahead and remove that search name here. Take a look. Perfect. I want to go ahead and add a COVID advisory form. And I can see which forms I'm looking to add down at the bottom by either pancaking this down or pulling that back up. I'm going to go ahead and remove these for now. We don't need to add any extra forms to my Lemon Tree Court property. I am happy with the 3 from my original template. So I'm going to go ahead, select the forms I would like to send out for a signature, come on down to the bottom, and I can click out Fill and Send. Maybe you have a little bit more of an old school client. They'd prefer you to download those forms for them, print them out so they can sign with wet signatures. You have that option here as well. All of these forms will still maintain all of that populated information. So again, they simply just need to drop those wet signatures, moving right along. All right, so here it's going to allow me just to quickly review, take a look at my forms here, make sure that we are good to go. Again, I can add anything that I might need, but I just want to take a look to make sure that all of the information is populated, and I can click Prepare for Signature. So here I have my seller. Since he is the only information I've entered in so far yet onto my property file, he right now is currently the only one that needs to sign. I have myself here as a seller's agent, no action required. I will simply receive a copy of this fully executed form. A copy will be sent to my email, and it will also be available here right within my SkySlope platform. I'll go ahead and click Next. Moving on forward here, this is going to drop me into my new and improved DigiSign. Now you'll notice, for those of you who have used DigiSign in the past, that this has gotten quite a facelift here. So not only do we have the basic essentials that you're very used to using, but we also have added a couple of extras here for you. So we now have the ability to add checkboxes, text fields, strike through. These here, if I'd like to go ahead and let's say add another signer in, and go ahead and click on these 3 dots, hit Edit Recipient. So yeah, I want to go ahead and I want to add Michael's wife in here now. I can do so, and I can also indicate if she needs to sign or maybe possibly just receive a copy. I'll go ahead and hit Save. And you'll see that SkySlope will also color code this for you. Makes it very easy to identify who needs to sign where. And those also looks nice. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and remove Holly because, I'll go ahead and send her over a copy when this is fully executed. I can do so here. I can also add in assistance, whatever I need to do, whoever needs to also receive either a copy or to sign these documents. Great. So I have, again, my recipients here. I can scroll through and I can see that these signature blocks are already placed. So SkySlope went ahead and mapped out all of your documents here. Any form that you can access here within the SkySlope platform will be auto mapped, again, saving you that time. You, of course, can come in and add any additional signatures that you would like. Let's say I want to go ahead and place this guy here. Or let's say instead I'd like to go ahead and add in a couple of text boxes. I'm just going to add them at random. To show that here, not only can you add these checkboxes, but you can also indicate how many you would like to incorporate in that group. SkySlope will go ahead and add that here for me. I can also indicate whether or not I need to require them to check at least 1 box, maybe 2, maybe 3. And if I scroll down even further, I can also indicate if I would like this to be checked by default. So really, we heard you. We understood that our digital signature tool prior was a little bit basic. We really wanted to raise those standards here to match our SkySlope uh, expectations. So here you go. This is our new digital signature tool with all of the bells and whistles. So this is really, we took your feedback. We really wanted to apply that here to make this tool of value to you. And of course, it is nicely integrated with your Forms tool. So now that I am happy, I have all of my documents ready to go. I want to go ahead and send this on over to my client. Down at the bottom here, I can go ahead and hit send. Finalize the email I would like him to receive and send this guy out for signature. Awesome. So I now have my 3 forms. I have my whole listing packet out, ready to go, waiting for signature here. I can check in on that current status using these 3 dots. If I want to drop this guy down, I can view that history, see if he's had a chance to open this up yet. I can resend. Maybe he's looking for a fresh copy at the top of his inbox. No worries. Or if I need to come in and make any updates, I can do so. I can cancel this guy, go make any updates that I need to, and of course, send that guy back out for signature. So now I'm just going to go ahead, pivot for a second. Let's go ahead and say that I, in fact, am Michael Scott. I am waiting for that email here. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pull up my personal inbox so we can take a look from the client perspective on how that is going to look when it's coming over for signature. All right, so this is my inbox here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page. And oh, look, I can see that my agent has sent me over some documents to sign. I'm going to go ahead, take a peek. Perfect. They're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and click Get Started. I'll go ahead and accept this here, my e-signature tools. And now to get myself started, of course, I can quickly skip to the signature block I need to go ahead and select. When I click on this, it'll ask me how I would like to choose my signature style, of course, or I now have the ability to draw. So if I'd like to cater that on over, I know personally my ability to draw on a screen is impossible. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the style. I'll use this signature here. I can place whichever signatures I need. And I know that I've got a bunch going on here. We've got 4 out of 14. I'll place my initials where I need to. Moving it right on through. I know I'm moving fast for you guys, of course, but those of you who are California agents, you'll be very familiar with these forms. No need to review them once again. And moving right along, I'll get my final signatures here in place. So once I am done, I am ready to send this back on over to my agent. I can go ahead and click Finish Signing down here at the bottom right. Now my client now has the option to download those signed documents. Now, if I drop this guy down here, I can either download in single PDFs or I can include it as a zip file. So I have some options, whatever my client prefers. Or if I'd simply like to view, of course, I had that second option of view. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of my client's perspective here, jump out of my personal inbox. And that will lead us right back into my SkySlope Forms tool. You'll see that my status bar down at the bottom is now marked green complete. So I am happy. I, as an agent, have now received a copy of that, not only to my inbox, but also it is available for me here within my Forms tool. And that is really as simple as it is, guys. You can absolutely move through, grab any forms that you're looking to gather, send them out for signature, and have them all here within one platform. So we know prior to our SkySlope Forms tool being available, you are moving around with a lot of third-party forms tools, other digital signature tools. Our goal is to provide all of those here for you within SkySlope. Not only does it keep all of your documents safe and secure, but it eliminates that need to jump around, even saves you that storage space on your own desktop. The times of downloading forms and fully executed documents to your own personal computer is a thing of the past. We're all going to have it ready to go here for you right within SkySlope. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, circle back around and discuss a little bit more about how to set up these templates. So as I mentioned, You can access these templates up at the top here, this little second tab. And here is what I currently have available for my own use. Now, templates are going to be designed to grab all of the documents that you will need to send them out in batches. So it really prevents you from needing to search for each specific form every time that you come into SkySlope and you'd like to send things out for signature. So, for example, I used my California new listing here when I was working on my past file, sending that on over to Michael. Now, to create a template, I'll go ahead and start off by clicking my plus button here. I can search through, again, all of my associations using my drop down menu. I can toggle between the ones that I would like to use. Let's say I would just like to use my car forms. I can simply set this up. I can either search for that form or I can scroll on through. I can add things to my template. And again, I can review this using my pancake here at the bottom. Once I am happy, these are the forms that I would like to add to my template. I'll go ahead and hit continue, give this a name, hit save, and it will quickly give me a preview of the documents that I have available. I can enter in any information I would like it to auto save here within my template. And once I save that, I have it readily available for me to use every time I jump in and create a property file. Or let me rephrase, every time I go ahead and create a file here to send out for signature. Now, if I'd like to come in and edit one of these templates, I can do so using my three dots. I can either choose to add additional forms. I've noticed I'm missing one. I need to jump in and tack on a couple more, no problem. Maybe I need to remove a form because I'd like to switch this up, maybe create a different flow, no worries. I can rename, duplicate, or I can also delete. So if I would like to go ahead and use this as a base and then add from there, of course, I can duplicate that, saves me that time from needing to start from scratch. All right, guys, so that's really going to cover how to send things out for signature using our Forms tool and how to utilize those templates. So really, what's next? How does this really tie into the rest of my workflow here in SkySlope? Well, now that I have those documents out, they've been signed, I need to come back into my SkySlope account here. I need to create that property file so that my brokerage can jump in, review those documents, give me that green stamp of approval, letting me know that I am good to go. So to do so, I'm going to jump right on back to my SkySlope home base. Now here is really where my original workflow here within SkySlope is going to pick up. So I, of course, am going to start by creating a listing. Again, I need to create a property file here for these documents to live so that my brokerage can review them. This leads us to Sky, of course, your listing file assistant. Now, when I go to enter in a listing, you're going to notice that she has an additional option for me. Rather than starting from scratch, I'm simply going to slide that over, access my forms, and I can see that my Lemon Tree Court is already available for me. So I'm going to go ahead, select this guy here, scroll on to the bottom, and now Sky is really just going to pick up where I left off. So a lot of this information was not necessary for me to send out those forms for a signature here as it is a new listing. So now Sky is just going to ask me some additional questions to really finalize this property file for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and select residential listing. Moving forward, she already knows the price of that property. This was pulled directly off of my form. So as you saw, when I went ahead and entered in the date of the forms created, it also asked me for a price. Sky is going to be directly connected to that forms tool. So you'll notice again, this is going to save you a ton of double data entry. Moving forward here, of course, I'm going to go ahead and enter in our standard 3%. For those of you working on teams, you can add your co-listing agent here. Now, I did not enter in my listing and expiration date directly onto my form as I was, of course, demoing and moving right along. So I'll go ahead and do so now. If I had already entered in the listing dates onto my forms, of course, Sky would already have that information as well. Last but not least, confirming that this is my client's proper information. If I'd like to, again, add his wife at this time, I can do so. Moving forward, those of you who are California users, you'll know that you have the ability to order your NHD or natural hazard disclosure right here within your SkySlope property file. Simply select any provider of interest to you, and SkySlope will automatically upload that into your property file within 24 hours. For now, I'll go ahead and say no thanks, Sky. Same option here. You do have the ability to pre-open escrow. However, I'm going to go ahead and opt out of this option as well. Last but not least, Sky will go ahead and provide me with that quick overview of my property file. I am happy. This is exactly what I would like to see. So I'm going to go ahead and finalize that process by creating my listing. Awesome. So you will now see that I have come full circle. I am now in my property file here within my SkySlope account. I have my brightly color coded checklist, and here is where I can go ahead and assign my documents in for my brokerage to review. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to jump into my documents tab and take a peek. And I can see that my fully executed forms are here already in my property file. So again, Sky is directly connected to your forms tool. There's no need for you to move those forms from your forms tool into the property file. We're going to go ahead and do that for you. Now, those of you who have used DigiSign in the past, you know when you send things out for a signature, it automatically uploads back into your Documents tab. So rest assured that that feature is still live and well, still easily available for you to utilize, of course. And as I jump back into my checklist, I'm going to go ahead and complete my workflow here today by turning in my executed forms into my brokerage. So I'll go ahead and click attach. I'll be able to simply grab my listing agreement here, click assign. Go ahead and give that a quick moment. I apologize, guys. Working from home, we know our internet sometimes needs to keep up, or maybe it hasn't had its coffee yet this morning. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Though there we go. So we've got our listing agreement attached, is now in review, of course. I can quickly hover my mouse over my paperclip here if I just want to quickly view this and make sure that we are all good to go. Awesome. I have my signatures. I am happy. I'll go ahead and do the same thing here for my agency disclosure by clicking attach. Perfect. I'll go ahead and click assign. Awesome. There we go. Once again, our status is changing. We are now marked as in review. Last but not least, I'll go ahead and attach our last document here. Awesome. Last but not least, we'll go ahead and once again click assign. Finalize this whole process here by getting this onto my checklist. And of course, as we know, you no longer need to, send a text, to send an email, letting your file reviewer know that you've submitted in documents for their review. They'll automatically be notified so that they can jump in, conduct that document review there, give you that green stamp of approval, indicating you have all of your signatures. Or of course, if any corrections are needed, you'll receive that update as well. You can send that right back out through DigiSign, get any corrections that you might need, and move on forward with your property file. All right, guys, I know that this has been a ton of information for you, so I appreciate you sticking with me. For those of you jumping into that chat feature, of course, if you have any questions, please refer to that Q&A feature instead. So to start us off, is this webinar being recorded so I can watch it again? Yes, absolutely. This session here is being recorded. It will get mailed out to all of the attendees after this session is over, including our Q&A feature here at the end. Next, I do not see the app button when I log into SkySlope. When will that be available? Well, good luck. For those California attendees here today, your forms will be available for you here starting late February. The app button will appear when your brokerage has been enabled, so there's no action item on your end. You do not need to do anything for this feature to become available within your account. Keep a lookout for those emails. They will give you a heads up on when your brokerage is expected to be launched. And if you're based in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Oregon, or Washington, forms should already be enabled in your account for you. Next question here. Is there a charge for forms? So no, absolutely not. Our SkySlope Forms tool will be included free with your SkySlope subscription. A little bit of a tongue twister there. All right. So, next question. I am a TC. I do not have access to car forms. And how is this going to work for me? Can an admin or TC access agent forms? So, right now, SkySlope Forms is only available to agents. It will require you to log in with your NRDS ID, and it will be available within your account. So currently we do not offer TC roles at this time, but it is something that we're planning for a future release. And next question, and we get this guy a lot, is SkySlope Forms mobile friendly? Now, for the best user experience, we recommend using SkySlope Forms on your desktop, computer, or tablet. Now, because this tool is available and usable on mobile, but it might not be fully optimized for that mobile experience. Now, however, the DigiSign experience for your clients is fully optimizable for mobile. So let your clients know they can absolutely sign on the go. But if you are putting these packets together, we do recommend to do that either from your desktop, computer, or tablet. Next question. Can you modify the names to something other the address or client name? Yes, absolutely. So that file name is now fully customizable. Next question here. Are the most current car forms automatically updated? Yes. As you saw in my demo, we had that one listing agreement there needed to have a revised version applied. So we went ahead and just clicked update now, and it automatically updated within the account. So, yes, the newest version of your car forms, or really any state forms, will be able to be updated automatically. If you have that updated version in your template, you'll see that same notification that I pointed out. And all data that you've entered into your form will remain intact. So you will not say lose any progress. All of that previously entered information will still be readily available for you. Now, what other California libraries are available? So currently we do have California Association of Realtor forms and EPUB's booklets. Now, our team has been in contact with all of the local associations to acquire those additional libraries, and they will be added as received. So they'll simply sign a contract with us, of course, giving us the ability to host those forms, and they'll become available within your account. Now, what about disclosure forms? Will the SPQ and the TDS be fillable? Now, absolutely. Through SkySlope Forms and DigiSign, all disclosure forms will be pre-populated with those check boxes and text blocks that we pointed out earlier, all for your client to easily fill out. Our next round of questions here. Can we pre-fill templates with data that is repetitive on all offers? Yes, absolutely. So templates will allow you to save groups of forms with general data that does not change from transaction to transaction. Now, templates can be applied to any file. And again, this will save you a ton of time. Our goal is to make this a very seamless workflow for you, having everything readily available for you on one platform. Can I use multiple templates in a file? Absolutely. You can use as many templates as you would like on one file. Let's say you create one for your standard listing process, but as I mentioned, I still have a couple of wonky scenarios. Maybe it is a specialty condo with a funky HOA. I can absolutely apply an additional template on top of that in order to group all of the forms together that I need to send out for signature. Can I reorder forms in a template? Yes. Now, our templates are completely customizable. You can customize the order of forms within them during that creation process, or you can jump back in and edit. Now, our next round of questions here. Can you enter information onto uploaded documents before sending them out for signature? Yes, the answer is absolutely. Uploaded documents will be editable in DigiSign. There you can add signatures, initials, dates, text boxes, anything that you might need, all of those bells and whistles. They're there for a reason. Our goal was really to bring our digital signature tool up to be comparable in the industry. So you will have all of those on hand, hopefully making DigiSign your nice, reliable digital signature tool. Next question. How do you handle signatures for a representative signing on behalf of an organization? Now, this is a great question. We get this guy a lot. Now, if a buyer or a seller is an entity or organization, you do have the ability to enter both the name of the organization as well as the person who will be signing. Now, the organization name will appear on the contracts as the buyer or seller, and the representative will be asked to sign in their own name in those signature blocks provided. And next, if I enter the email address of the signer incorrectly, will I be able to jump in, edit that, and resend? Absolutely. As we saw within our demo, we do have those three dots available. If you need to resend an envelope or correct the email recipient and resend, you'll be able to do so from that envelopes tab. And moving right along here, will SkySlope Forms work with other digital signature products? Absolutely. Now, we know that you might have your digital signature tool, you're comfortable with it, you're happy, no worries. As we talked about here today, our DigiSign is fully connected to the car form. So signature and initial blocks will automatically populate in DigiSign, which will save you that time. Now, currently, DigiSign is the only signature tool that is integrated with SkySlope Forms. So we don't currently carry any other integrations with those signature tools. However, if you would like to download your files and use an outside digital signature tool, that is always an option for you. Now, once the documents have been signed, do they automatically sync to the file in SkySlope? So yes, absolutely. The same way that you're used to sending documents out through for signature using DigiSign, they will automatically upload into your Documents tab. So by linking that SkySlope listing or transactions to your Forms file, it will not only pull the data, but any signed documents as well. So again, they'll pop up in your Documents tab there, which you can then assign on over to your property file. You can assign it on over to your checklist so your brokerage has the chance to jump in and conduct that file review. And last question on this page here. Can a brokerage create templates to share with all of their agents? Now, this feature, very heavily requested, it's in development. So this will be available for you here soon, but currently not at this time. Now, do we have an option to add a library with our broker forms? Yes, absolutely. Now, we do offer a service, Broker Library. Any brokerage specific documentation, really not, again, with the associations, no worries. We'll work with your team to make sure that those forms are fillable and mapped, just like your association forms. If you would like more information on this and you are either part of the admin team, of course, go ahead and reach out to your customer success manager for information on how to get that going. And can you add those broker required forms to a template? Yes, absolutely. The same way that I dropped my menu down to jump into my car association, I'll have an option that's also labeled broker library. Now, if this is set up, those broker forms can be added to your templates. Again, reach out to your customer success manager on more information on how to get that brokerage library up and running. All right, guys. Once again, I know I've been talking your ear off here for quite some time, so I am going to go ahead, take a quick breather. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I know we have quite a few additional questions in our Q&A feature, many that might not have pertained to our FAQ. So we're going to go ahead, compile a handful of those questions here and open it up so we can get those addressed.
Hi everyone, this is Megan Lutz. I'm a product manager with SkySlope Forms. We've been working really hard behind the scenes to get the product up and running and making sure that all your California forms are mapped and up to date. Kara, thank you so much for the awesome demo and showing everyone, how it's working and the full flows. We have a ton of participants on this call, and we also have some people who are watching live on YouTube. So thank you to everyone for your participation. We have hundreds of questions, most of which got answered during that FAQ session. But I do have a couple other questions that came in through the Q&A that I wanted to answer vocally for everyone. So one of the first questions was, can you add multiple MLS listings that a buyer wants to put an offer on? So really what this question is asking is, when I'm working with a buyer and I'm writing multiple offers, how do I manage that in SkySlope Forms? And so what we would do is suggest creating a new file for each property. This flow may not work for everyone, but we do have a copy file feature that would make it really easy to be able to write multiple offers. And that is going to be shown on your dashboard as a menu option there to be able to copy a file. So that way you don't have to keep putting in your buyer's information. You can just change the address basically, and then your forms are going to update accordingly with that new address, and you can go ahead and put in new offers there. You can also use the MLS import tool, and you can say, I want to override all the information from the last file, and I want to put in my new MLS number, and then I can go ahead and move forward with creating another offer. So that was a great question. And just wanted to highlight that we do have that copy file feature from the dashboard. Another question that came in was around templates, and the question was, can I upload documents to my template? And what we see there is usually the documents that want to be uploaded to a template are usually your broker forms, right? So those forms from your brokerage that need to be signed by your buyers and sellers. And what we recommend is really having your broker set up a broker library with us. And then once that broker library is set up, those broker forms can be added to your templates. They can be added to your files. And all of those forms are also going to be auto populated. We map them, we put the buyer and seller signature blocks on there for you. It is something that you want to have your broker reach out to your customer success manager about for that service. But it is something we offer, and it's going to save you a ton of time for you as an agent to be able to get all those forms sent over and signed and not have to place all those signature blocks once you get into the DigiSign place. Another thing on templates is, how do I set those up? Can I import those in from other places where I already have a template set up? And right now we don't have any integrations to be able to copy a template from, let's say, ZipForm. You would have to create all your templates within SkySlope Forms. We don't have anything like an import tool at this time, but setting up a template is pretty easy to do. You name it, you put the forms in, and then you fill it with that data. We have a help section, and it is in the top right of your menu once you get into the forms product. And we have videos showing you exactly how to set up your templates and showing you how that data that you put on those templates is going to propagate across all the forms and go into your file, just really making it easy to start a new file with data that is constantly repetitive, right, with each file. So we do have templates. They're easy to set up. We have a help section to show you how to do that. And we do recommend those broker libraries for those documents that aren't necessarily a CAR form. And then again, the help section, I don't want to undermine that. We have a ton of help articles and help videos to show you all the ins and outs of SkySlope Forms, its connection with DigiSign, and how you get all of those forms, those signed forms, and that data into SkySlope transaction management, and how all that stuff syncs together. So if you missed any of it here, once we do go live, we do have a help section that you'll be able to access, and all your agents can access that too if they need help getting started. All right, one other question that I wanted to address is very similar to what I just talked about with the help section. The question is, will you be sending out written manual outlining this training? We would suggest going to that help section again for those articles and those videos there. And of course, your CSM, your customer success manager, is going to be happy to help you set up any trainings with your team if that's something that you feel like you need. But I would say, and one of the other questions that came in is, can I create a test file? Absolutely. We definitely, once you get access to SkySlope Forms in your account, when that app button is accessible to you in later on this month, we definitely recommend creating a test file, right? Set up a file with maybe you as the buyer or the seller so that you're emailing yourself, and then you see how all the data propagates. You get to see how the e-signature platform is working. You get to see it from what it looks like for your clients, how the e-signature is working and how DigiSign looks to them. We definitely recommend that. And any files that you use as test files, those can be archived. So we have an archive function on the dashboard where you'll be able to put those test files to the side and just keep your your working files front and center on that dashboard. So we definitely do recommend creating some things and playing around with it and utilizing that help section. And one last question that I know I have, and we can kick it over to other team members too if they found other great questions in the Q&A section. But one of the questions was around, and they're called different things, but the forms for California. A lot of times you see many forms all in one PDF. So the questions were asked, do all three of those forms get sent over? We do have what we're calling, packets set up to where when you pull in the residential listing agreement, when you pull in the RPA rather, residential purchase agreement, you're going to get all, I think it's like 7 of those forms. You get the wire fraud, you get the contract, all the contracts all set up for you. So you don't have to individually add each one. We know those documents that are supposed to go together. And so we do group those together for you in those packets. So once you get in, you'll be able to see how all those are set up. And it'll look very similar to other places where you're accessing your car forms. So those are the questions that I have. If Kira, I'll kick it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Megan. I appreciate that. Again, guys, we definitely appreciate your feedback and your incredible questions. So I know that this is a little bit longer than your typical masterclass. So of course, we'll go ahead and conserve your time here and wrap up today's training. Once again, anyone who was in attendance here today, if you're still with me, of course, you'll receive a copy of today's training. We do like to record these to provide them back for you. If you have any other additional questions, either within that forms tool or really within your SkySlope account in general, just know that you always have access to our SkySlope support team. They are here late nights, weekends, and holidays. We know that your job is not a typical 9 to 5, so we are not either. Feel free, reach out to us if you do have any additional questions. And with that, happy SkySloping.